get rocking. Good day again, man. Yesterday, I talked with you before practice about some of the competitions, what I was hoping to see, certainly some of the line of scrimmage. I thought of the big guys, some of the ones that stood out. I thought Brandon Coleman and offensive line, good rushers out, same square. And I thought the interior, the defensive line, Newton, J.A., Payne, all in their own ways had good plays. And so that's what I'm looking for on these days. And we had big red zone emphasis today, big run game. We'll also work some situations you'll see at the end of the game. 4-minute, team ahead, trying to close it out. If they can, they will. If they don't, punt, turn into a 2-minute, going back the other way. So we'll work some situations that'll go, and that'll kind of lead into tomorrow, which has a lot of situations, as part of a jog through. But good day for us lined up, and we'll go battle for it again. So let's get it rocking.
Hey, Coach, good morning.
Good morning.
The intensity, the physicality seem to be kind of picking up here. How do you kind of balance what looks to be like they're kind of ready to go and where you are in the process with that?
That's an easy one. We're not ready to go. But what I can tell you is that we really want to learn to do this at a remarkable level, to push each other, to get ready, to get our skills right, to get the execution right. And in the first day of pads, I said, we'll be doing this together for the next 6 months together. And so knowing that push, that intensity right on the line, never crossing it, because at the end of it, we've got to take care of one another. And that's always the fine balance, especially during training camp. I thought so far the guys did a good job with that.
Less than a week to the Jets. How do you feel about your corners now?
Corners. Corners, got it. As we're going through, we're rotating some guys. You'll see St. Jude some more in there. There's been plays that I thought really stayed aggressive and tight, and some more that, we need work on. So, like a lot of positions, I liked how we added one-on-ones. You'll see that again today, just finding new matchups. And it also helps in the next, 3 weeks, some against our own team, some against the Jets, some against Miami, just different looks, different speeds. And so I'd say I'll have a better sense for that, in about 14, 18 days.
You've shown some variance with the 3 safeties, 3 corner looks. Or is either group starting to show you that they should be out there more?
No, and a lot of it can be dependent upon what the offense may have. How do we want to match up with 4 receivers compared to 3 or 2? So I'm pleased with where the safeties are. I thought the communication, we put a lot on those guys to get it right, and so it takes process to go through. And in this season, almost everybody started on the same level. There wasn't like I've been in the system 3-4 years where they could be that much further ahead. So collectively, I think we're seeing the whole group communicate better, and I know when it's going well, when I can hear them before I see them play. And there's been times I have, and there's been times I haven't. So it's something that I want to continue to push on with the safety group especially.
When you're doing all these end of game, end of half situations,
yep.
How many timeouts do you have? Are you thinking about timeout usage? What is the practice for you in those situations?
Yeah, and it also is for me. You're exactly right. So that's, my version of calling plays where we're at the end of the game. So it varies depending upon the day. So, for instance, today the offense will be in a 4-minute to start. So defensively they have to use some timeouts. So when the other 2-minute goes on the other side, there may be 0. And so sometimes there's 1, sometimes there's more. So usually we give less, just so you can make it a little more challenging. Sometimes 0. Rarely 2, but usually 0 or 1. So when do we use it? How do we use it? And it's really the mechanics too, and that's why you see the referees here spotting the ball, the urgency to go do that. So we almost continually work it on the time slots to say, can we do this in 15 seconds? What about 14? Nope, let's try it again. 15 is the marker. Or can this be done in 7 seconds? Can we get out of bounds in 5? Those are the things you have to work at full speed. So when we do get in those, environments, then we're ready to really go execute it.
How much, if at all, has timeout management or timeout usage changed from when you were head coach before?
I would say it's the use of analytics has probably changed some of that. I don't know if it's regarding 2-minute as much as 4th down opportunities, 2-point plays, and things that may go into that. It's always been at the top of the pile to play winning football, but I would say there's been a trend, with more information in game of how to utilize that information.
Do you have an update on Derek Forrest?
Defo will be out today, and we'll see what it looks like moving forward. As we're getting into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, but he'll be could be limited as early as Monday.
And it's injury related?
Yes.
Okay.
It's not a long-term one, so I think you'll see him back working into individual, shortly, not as in 30 minutes shortly, but sooner than later.
Okay. And how closely, if at all, were you following the Hall of Fame game last night to kind of look at the new kickoff rule?
I wasn't, so I need to go watch it, but I like to watch as many of the preseason games as I can, so I'll likely watch it on the coach's film just as soon as that comes in. But I'm ready to explore about it and watch it and see, and so I'll do that not just for that play in the other preseason games, but I like watching around the league. You get a sense for your division games, the people, who's new, who they added, so I enjoy looking at the preseason games.
Hey, Dan, was Andrew Wiley dealing with more tightness yesterday? Andrew Wiley?
Yep.
Okay. Do you expect that? Is that you going to be out there today, or?
Yep, he'll be out there today working in the same capacity.
Okay. And then for you, obviously you talk about about the competition.
Yeah.
How have you evolved with that over the years? Have you added more of that? Is it when did you see how beneficial maybe adding more of it was?
Yeah, I think at the core of it, that's what these guys are, right? And they love to compete. So if you can find as many opportunities for that as you can, we try to bring that out. And that's performing, that's the competing. So some of it's at the end of the game, some of it's just a third down competition or a first down and 10. And so the more we do it, I think the better, because it's really who they are at their core of competing, and it makes the practice ramp up even higher. So it's been something I've always been a big supporter of.
It's about the same over the years.
Yep.
Hey, Dan, to go back to Wiley for a second.
Okay.
You've been looking at all the position flexibility along the line. He is somebody that has played guard at times. Is that a potential with him, or you just be a tackle?
Right. He'll be at tackle right now, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, he does have the flex, but we're working some other guys inside.
And with regards to Brandon Coleman, should he continue to progress and you guys think, hey, this is a guy that could start for us, is there any having a rookie at quarterback and possibly left tackle, does there get any nerves at that, or is it hey, if you're the best guy, so
Yeah, I think that's really how you have to look at it, Ben, to say you want to make sure you're putting the team and the roster in the best places to play well and to win. So that competition will be ongoing, but yeah, there's no hesitation as far as the best guy and how to go play with that.
Coach, we were talking about this is the first time players get an hour break a day, and I'm wondering what's your goal with this and how does it help them with recovery?
And so it's designed just for the recovery piece of that. And so it was designed as there's a time limit for the guys for each day, 11 hours or 10 hours, depending on if vet or rookie. And so that's more than enough time for us as coaches to get in what we need to get in. So if we were going to go and really empty it out and practice really hard, the message was going to be we have to recover really hard too, to make sure that your bodies are coming back to go after it yesterday and come back after it again today. And so putting those sessions in the bank, it's also training of what it needs to be, as you're going in through the season. So it was by design. It's something that I hadn't done before, but it was one thing that I had on my radar to say, how can we do this part better? So often you hear people say, hey, need recovery. It might be at the end of the day or the beginning of the day, but this one makes sure that it happens. Yes. It was easy because the trade-off was more meeting time with the coaches. So I said the coaches are chomping at the bit. They'd love to have more meetings with you. So there's been very little pushback.
Hey, Coach. In regards to Jeremy Chin, apologies if you've been asked about him in recent days, but what have you seen from him that you've liked? What has his experience added to that room thus far, and anything you can share about his perceived role this year?
Yeah, he really has done an excellent job here. We've put him at a couple of different spots. You've probably seen him down by the line of scrimmage. You've seen him blitz some. He's got real speed and length. That's probably the thing that has shown up to me the most, his ability to stay attached to people. So he and Frankie have been good additions for us, featured in their own ways. And I may have said a few days ago, not everybody's elite or excellent at everything, but the things that we're going to try to ask them to do, they'll be elite at. And I think Jeremy and Frankie fit into those spaces of how we'd like to utilize them. But he's got excellent ball skills. He's a good tackler. He's shown good range. So all the things as a safety, he's hitting the marks.
Good morning, Dan.
Good morning.
Earlier you said the team is not ready to go. So obviously this team is building. Practice number 8. What are your markers to see and realize, you know what, this team is ready. This team is ready to kind of be released?
Yeah, I think really probably the two things you're wanting to see is like the focus and can that stay play after play after play after play. Oftentimes you see this, a good play, then it's down, a good play and a down. You've probably heard coach speak of he flashes, a play. And so that's not what we're looking for, to flash. You want to see those plays done consistently over time. And so the more you do it, the better it gets. I said to them, Usain Bolt didn't get tired of running straight ahead. There has to be some consistency about the execution, about how we're doing things, and the expertise to get to that level. That's really what we're digging for. And we have a few more installs to go, so by no means is the entire package in. But once it is, then now we go back through it again, and then maybe take a little out, and you can streamline it. But this time, it is more stressful for the players because there's more to learn, more to do, things they haven't done a lot of. So we're going to continue to push them until we find those spots and execution in all 3 phases.
Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
It's actually a perfect segue. I wanted to ask you, is there a guy that so far in training camp maybe hasn't flashed as much with like a highlight play, but has really impressed you with their consistency on the field?
Yeah, that's a good one. Probably, I would say it may come from the offensive line. Like Sam Cosme has shown like really consistent play. Like you would have thought he'd been a guard for a really long time. And in fact, he wasn't, from moving from tackle to guard. So I would say his ability to stay square, to pull, he's an athlete that's inside. He's somebody that has impressed me, by the size of him, his movement to go. That would be one that jumped out to me. Trying to think of some other guys that have stood out. Mike Samer still has been somebody that's been really consistently strong. It's run fits, it's coverage, it's all of it that goes into that position. Playing nickel is a lot like playing safety. There's run fits, there's calls, there's checks, and things happen quickly. And Mikey has certainly shown he's up for the task to be into that spot.
And then, Coach, speaking of the Hall of Fame game as well, with preseason being reduced to 3 games and even, some speculation that in the future it could be reduced even more, does there become a little bit of an advantage to having that extra preseason game if your team is selected for that?
Well, I don't know if there's an advantage, but what I can say, maybe the practice Ken. Oftentimes you're not seeing, the other players play as much, but it's a real honor to go to that, because you get to see the hall, and probably some of the best times is seeing the inductees, at the game. And so, super proud to, worked with Devin, worked with Dwight. And so I know firsthand what that looks like for them at practice and performing. And so there's a real honor to it. Any coach would like a few more practices for sure. So there's probably an advantage. But the practices help. When you go against another team, it's a different look. So I think the league overall, we've moved in that direction to where there are practices that can help. And so our work against the Jets and our work against Miami, that helps.
Good morning again,
Good
Coach.
morning, Kenny.
With the one-on-ones yesterday, was there any particular position group matchup or player-to-player matchup that stood out to you?
Man, that's a good one. I thought like Coleman and Clee Farrell, had some good battles as they were going into their one-on-ones. Yesterday was in the red zone, so it was a little less running on some spots. Today they'll be in the field, so in the one-on-ones there will be more deep balls and things that would go to that space. So each day may have a little bit of different stuff, but overall I was pleased with just the different matchups, and I'm hopeful today we'll see some different ones. I kind of nudged that along this morning in the staff meeting, so hopefully we'll see some new matchups.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Donna.
A couple of the receivers, can you talk a little bit about Mitch Tinsley and Bryce Tremaine and
Yes.
what you're seeing out of those 2 guys?
Yeah, and I think their dual role because of their strength and their speed, where they also have a good special teams role as well. What I've seen for both of them is they're very intentional about getting better. For instance, for Bryson, one of the things he was really trying to work on was his releases from press coverage. And so you saw that from pre-practice, from post-practice, individual work, into releasing against the guys. So like what I've been impressed by him and for the staff is this is something I want to get better at. And here's my plan of how to do it. And we dedicate, 5 minutes before practice or 5 minutes after practice just for that skill development. So Bryson's one that has taken advantage of that time. I want to get better at these releases, and then I've seen that at practice. With Tinsley, I think I feel the speed, I feel the strength. He's probably jumped out more just based on the rep side on the special teams versus offense, but he does have the size and the strength to be featured in a lot of different places. So he's been impressive to me too. All right,
Emmanuel, going into this year, kind of how do you feel like about the improvements from last year into this season? I know you talked about you gaining weight. Just how do you think that's going to translate into your game this year?
Oh, it's making me more explosive, more fast, and honestly just maturing will help my game this year. I matured a lot over the offseason, found out a lot about myself, and just looking forward to it.
Coach mentioned earlier that. Sit down. Coach mentioned earlier that this team is not ready yet, but it's getting to that point. How do you feel about the defense, how it's come along, especially in the secondary?
Oh, yeah, it's all about second days. We're getting where we want to be. We're not where we want to be right now, but we're getting there, and that's it's gonna take time and a lot of practice.
What's up, Emmanuel? What exactly were you able to do to gain weight? Were there any drastic changes to your routine?
Honestly, just eating more healthy and lifting a lot of weights, and that's it, honestly.
And let me ask you a little bit of an obvious question here. Joe Witt and Dan Quinn talk a lot about how the ball is life, and I think everyone here kind of understands the concept of what that means. But what are some things that they're doing to really emphasize that point to you guys?
We always doing ball drills, and it means we always just going over plays, going over the playbook, honestly, just to put ourselves in position to make a play on the ball. So, yeah.
When it seems like you're able to get a turnover and then for whatever reason you don't, do they let you know immediately that, hey, what you could have done to maybe have things go in your favor?
Oh, yeah, they always going to go through the film and let us know what plays we should have made or what plays we can make. And they feel like if we can put our hand on the ball, we can pick it, but, yeah.
Hey, Emmanuel, how does it make you feel? You got a coach that comes in and says that it's a clean slate for everybody, and you have Jonathan Allen saying everybody in that locker room has something to prove. How does that, as a player, make you feel coming into with a new coaching staff coming in like it's completely clean slate?
Yeah, because I have to prove that I'm worthy to play for these coaches. They didn't draft me, and just like you said, everybody in the locker room feel like they have something to prove and feel like we have a lot of talent, so we just got to put it to use. So yeah.
Emmanuel, we've been hearing a lot about the offensive side of the ball here in training camp, but you being a defensive back and Dan Quinn coming from the Cowboys where he used defensive backs in a unique way, is there anything that he's bringing over and you guys are seeing anything different on your defensive sets?
I would say, honestly, just we're getting a lot of pressure on our quarterback. So offensive D-line, they go at it every day, and that helps out the secondary a lot. And just we're playing fast in the secondary and just looking to make plays on the ball.
So you have Michael Davis and Noah Igbenogany in the same room as you guys. What have some of them been able to teach you over the last couple of weeks or so?
Oh, they're older guys, so they've played a lot of football, and we honestly just feed off each other, just try to talk to each other about things that we've seen, and just, like I said, feed off each other.
Being in the secondary room now with former Steeler William Gay, someone that's been a Super Bowl champion in this league, how have you been able to pick his brain, and how has he been able to help you refine your skills?
Oh, yeah, he's always bringing the energy. He's going to always keep it real with the DBs and just let us know what we need to work on and what we're doing good. So he's a big part of our defensive room.